Good morning. Welcome to 1 Million Cups Mankato. We're going to kick it off with our video explaining what 1 Million Cups is.
1 Million Cups is a weekly educational program developed by...
Oops, I just realized you're probably not hearing it. One sec.
No, I heard it.
Okay.
I heard it.
Good.
By the Kauffman Foundation.
It's a place where our entrepreneurs can come and connect within the community.
There's a real kind of vibe or a real energy here that's about supporting entrepreneurs.
We have two presenters each week.
Two entrepreneurs, they come and tell about their journey.
They each have about 6 minutes to present.
You're telling people what you're up to, and you're essentially getting feedback from them.
There's about 15 to 20 minutes of Q&A.
All the questions that they asked us really got us thinking about new ways to think about our business.
It was good to just be able to get that feedback from the rest of the community.
So over the years, we've added more cities. It creates a great energy here to see what's happening across the country.
Last question for you, what can we as a community do for you?
The what can we as a community do to help you question is what really coalesces the community around every single presenter.
When somebody applies to present to 1 Million Cups, they're instructed to watch a series of videos through the Kauffman Founder School website.
It's invaluable information for someone who's founding a startup.
I felt better prepared. I felt more confident. And I think a little more focused than I would have been otherwise. Had I not watched the videos of the Founder Schools, it was a great way to prepare.
I really like the educational component of 1 Million Cups because it does create that open forum.
You're going to hear great ideas that will help you start thinking even more about what you want to do with your business.
What I've learned from other entrepreneurs is very, very valuable.
The cool thing about 1 Million Cups is you're amongst other people like yourself.
Just hearing someone talk about their startup, it just was magical to think, wow, there's other people out there like myself.
Sitting in a room with other people that have ideas too, it helps people to leave thinking, you know what, my idea is worth something. It's worth pursuing. It's worth going after it. Even if it looks like a challenge, I should still go out and try to do it.
All right. We'll turn things over to Tabitha now.
Awesome. So this is a huge collaboration, and we want to make sure that we thank our sponsors. And so we have Minnesota State University, the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, Connect Magazine, Pinnacle Business Solutions, Pioneer Bank, Tailwind Group, SCORE, Dunkin' Donuts, and Mogwai. So thank you all for collaborating to make this go. And then to get everything running, it takes a different group of people as well. And so there's many of us out there. I think we have a few of us that are community organizers. My name is Tabitha Melvin. I am your MC, and I also represent Primerica. And so Gary's unmuted. Go ahead, Gary.
Yes, Gary Schaab with the Small Business Development Center and SCORE.
Bobby, are you on?
Yeah, I'll unmute myself here. Bobby Drangler, Mankato, Minnesota here, and I'm with Citizens Voices.
And Tyler Grosskreutz.
Tyler Grosskreutz. I own Hedgehog Advertising. I am the marketing coordinator.
And Yvonne.
Hi, I'm Yvonne Caribou. I'm with the College of Business Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship.
Do we have Caitlin on today? I didn't check.
Yes, I'm here.
There you go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Caitlin. I am the student organizer for the 1 Million Cups Mankato chapter.
And Mr. Hahn.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's great to see everybody. I'm Mike Hahn. I'm with the Small Business Development Center. So, hey, Gary, that's quite the young photo of you in the slide there.
Yeah, you like that, huh? That was earlier in my hair progression.
This is what COVID does to all of us. Isn't that the best? And so it is my pleasure. Our first presenter, this is exciting for me because I work out of a non-traditional workspace. And so I'm really excited to turn it over to Lisa, right, County? And she is going to be having a panel discussion with Stephanie Braun from Mogwai and Rick Esser from Mankato Makerspace. So I'm going to unmute, and you have it's not 6 minutes. Do we have 6 minutes are we doing the full 20, Yvonne?
We've got
full
20.
Okay, full 20, so go for it.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. It's good to see you all here virtually. You know, I have to admit, back in January when Yvonne and Gary and Becky from Connect and I sat down to plan out the year for this, words like coronavirus and COVID-19 weren't really on anyone's radar. So when we talked about this topic of non-traditional workspaces, I don't think we really understood how important they would be when we got to this May panel. So, because many of us are now working in what we consider non-traditional workspaces. And we do have on the panel today, Stephanie with Mogwai, and then also Kim Spears is here for Mankato Makerspace. And I want to start just by having each of them talk about their workspaces. So Stephanie, let's start with you and tell us about Mogwai.
So do you want me to start with where we're at or how we started?
Talk about, what your workspace is like.
Yep. So we have Mogwai Collaborative. Mogwai Collaborative opened July 2nd of 2018. It was a co-working space, which that is a shared workspace. We have a month-to-month lease. It's fully furnished with sit-stand desks, meeting rooms, private phone booths, coffee, espresso, professional work area, the whole 9 yards. Obviously, before COVID-19, it was wherever you found an open spot was where you could go in and sit. And it was all about collaboration and networking and getting people out of their homes, having a professional work-life balance, for people to come in and do. Then I also have Mogwai Executive, which I'm in one of the offices right now. Mogwai Executive it's a private office space. Same thing, fully furnished with a sit-stand desk, lockable cabinetry. You have 24/7 secured access, but this is your space. You can leave everything here. And then before COVID-19, you had full access to the collaborative space as well. So yeah, that was my spaces. And if you want me to keep going, I can talk about where we're at now.
Yeah, we'll come back with some more questions on that. But let's have Kim talk about the Mankato Makerspace and what that's like. Kim?
Yeah, Mankato Makerspace just celebrated recently our 2nd anniversary. It's kind of a hands-on place. We have a lot of different shops there. Predominantly, we have a wood shop and a metal shop and a ceramics area. We have finishing, a paint area, textiles. We have some work with textiles in the clean area. We have 3D printers. We have a laser engraver as well. We're starting to bring on more CNC equipment. We have a CNC router, and all of this equipment is available to members with appropriate training, of course. We have various people there. Some people are actually running almost a quasi-business level production, but most people are hobbyists and are pursuing various avenues with that. What's nice about our space, it's very collaborative as well. We have people there. The shop leads have expertise, but the members are very open to sharing their expertise as well. So if you're competent in one area, you can call in expertise from another area and kind of mix the media, so to speak. So you're not limited. And so this opens up a lot of creativity for people. A lot of people have a lot of good ideas and a lot of abilities and don't have the resources to operate those. And the Makerspaces provides those opportunities.
That's good.
So very excited about it.
Yeah. So you both use that word collaboration. And I think that initially was one of the positive features about co-working spaces like the ones you all offer. But how have you had to sort of change that now post COVID-19 as you get ready to open back up? Stephanie, do you want to start?
Sure. I mean, obviously we had to do some really big changes. I had to have a big meeting with the owners and the founder, and we had to completely revamp our business plan. I had to go through all the OSHA, the CDC, the WHO, the state governor. Regardless of people's personal feelings on it, it's my job to keep the safe space or the space safe. And if people don't feel safe, they're not going to come in. So before our capacity was 48 people, we had to greatly reduce the amount of members that can be in there. We can have 13 people in there. It's no longer you go sit wherever you want. People are going to have a dedicated desk. And that's not something that's unusual in a co-working space. A lot of co-working spaces do have the open floor plan membership where you can go sit wherever you want. Then they have a dedicated desk option. And then they also have a private office space. And I joined, I feel like it's an online support group for like co-working directors across the United States where you can call in and we're all like, what are you doing, you know? So I joined that, and it's just the direction that everything has to go. So all of our events have been canceled as of right now. Obviously, we all know that there's no, you know, large face-to-face meetings in there. My meetings are going to have to be scheduled with 30 minutes in between to flip the room. There's sanitizing stations set up. All the desks have been moved 6 feet apart. Like I said, people will have their designated desks. It's locked. And then this was fun. This is collaboration. So this is a touchless for the elevators, for everything. And this was created by John, who's the owner of Cubic 3D Printing, and actually our property manager, Adam. Those two came up with this because, like I said, I'm also the director of the Hubbard building, and total there's 22 businesses that are in this building. So we really have to be careful and take care of our tenants, and that's my #1 priority. So yes, and then with our private office, the one that I'm in right now, this is normally $500 a month. It's going to be $400 a month, and it's a month-to-month lease. I think the biggest thing is just having flexibility, a space for people to come in that's a safe workspace. I applied for something that's called, it's a global organization called Safe Spaces, where you get accredited. And I mean, there's a whole laundry list of everything that we have to adhere to. So, yeah.
Are you finding there's more demand for your spaces as people try to maybe get out of their homes to be more productive with work if that's not working for them?
You know, what's been the hardest thing is I've had so many people reach out to me that are deemed essential workers, but they need to have a large meeting space with like 6 other people. Like one woman, she teaches CPR. So she's deemed essential, but she has no space to go do it in. And it would be 6 different people every week. And unfortunately, you know, the way I can't do that right now. You know, I just can't. So that's been hard. I had another doctor reach out to me that needed a place to do a foot exam for someone. And it's like, so that does kill me because for years, you know, for almost 2 years, I'm like, that's what I've been wanting. And now I have to say no. But I do think that once things kind of get turned back on, you know, what I'm seeing all over social media is everyone that's having to work at home that doesn't have reliable internet, that the kids are there, that there's distractions, that they're unmotivated. The one silver lining that I could see in COVID-19 is with Mogwai Collaborative, I always had a challenge in this community explaining what it is and why there was a need for it, where they were like, well, why can't they just go work in a coffee shop or work from home? And now literally everyone can relate with entrepreneurs and the struggle that they go through. You're home alone. You don't have anyone to bounce ideas off of. You know, maybe it's hard to get out of the sweatpants, or your kids are driving you crazy, or you don't have a professional work environment, or your internet's not working. You know, all of those things to have work-life balance. Now I feel we can really identify with it and understand why spaces like this are essential and important for our community to grow and thrive and to support our local entrepreneurs and businesses.
Yeah, very good. Now, Kim, I know your space is not really office oriented, but you have to take measures at Makerspace too, post COVID-19.
We've been struggling with that in the fact that we've pretty much just shut down for the past 3 or 4 weeks. We're trying to find a path forward right now. As we met Monday and tried to figure out what opening up again would look like. And we fully intend to do that by the 15th. However, we want to make sure that we do it right, make sure that we're safe, and make sure that we're in compliance with the administration's order, which seems to be the biggest challenge right now, is finding out what our status is and what the recommendations are, whether they're okay with us opening. And it's been a real struggle. I guess I guess I would always look forward to any input in that area as far as that goes. We're all kind of in uncertain territory here, and we all need help. But fortunately, our members have been sticking with us. We haven't had a lot of people drop out, so I think everybody's kind of chomping at the bit for going forward. Again, when we open up, we anticipate the demand will be there, but part of our plan is also to limit people as far as their access to the space, so we don't have as many numbers in there for social distancing purposes.
Good. Well, at this time, let's open it up for any of you that are on the call. Do you have any questions for Stephanie or Kim, or any input for them? Okay, well, I have some more questions then. So Stephanie, what are you hearing from some of your tenants that were already there in your space?
Well, like, say that again.
So what are you hearing from your tenants about your space, and maybe what if their needs have changed since?
Yep. So my tenants that are still with me, they, you know, I've reached out to all of them. Obviously with our month-to-month lease, that's great for people in this situation because there's no obligation for them to have to stay on. So most of the people that were, you know, using it for meeting space and all that stuff, they put their membership on hold. But the ones that are still working in there, they say that they feel, you know, completely safe and that they're glad that they're still able to come in and have that work-life balance. So far it's been positive. I don't know how they're gonna feel when I have to flip on the switch for all the new rules and regulations.
Right. I do have a question here that came in for you, Stephanie. Could you talk more about the Safe Spaces certification, and is that just for co-working spaces, or what is that all about?
Yep. So it's a collaboration with Colliers. Am I pronouncing that right? Colliers International, and then Upflex. So what it is that you have to upload your safe space plan. Once people start coming in, you have to keep track of every person that came in there for up to a month. You have to have everything moved 6 feet apart, cleaned in between all of the meetings, sanitized down. This is the kicker, because we've got a lot of caffeinated lovers in here. I will have to take out the shared coffee pots. I'm hoping that I can have the espresso machine there, but no mugs. Everything has to be single serve space. Before, we always had our door open, you know, and I had a rotating artist of the month project going in there all the time where people could come in and look at local art. We can't do that, you know. It just is really going to need to be members only, and this is their safe space to come to work. And when I do go into that lease contract with them, I'm going to make it very clear that this is all subject to change. You know, we do have to be adaptable and flexible. It will never change mid-lease, but with us being month to month, we come back around to it every single time, you know. And we were started as a co-working space, and I know the founder, Dane, is very passionate about collaborating and co-working and wanting to keep that, but the biggest thing is our community's health and safety, you know.
Another question for you, Stephanie, where is the plan available, or where can people go to maybe check into that Safe Spaces?
Go to Upflex, it's called. If you just Google that, and you should be able to find it on their website, and you'll read all about it. It's global, it's across the world. You have to submit your business plan, what your COVID-19 business plan is, pictures of the space, make sure everything's measured 6 feet apart, you know, tape on the floors. I forgot about that, for bathroom lines, basically sanitizer everywhere. So yeah, but it's through Upflex. And the one thing that is, how do I say, not holding us back, but that is a concern, is that in the Hubbard building, we have a cafe that's an amenity for all of the tenants. So in there, there's, you know, sodas, drinks. We partnered with Wooden Spoon, where you can get soups and sandwiches, all that type of stuff. And that would need to be closed down. And for the co-working space, I completely understand that. But then when I look at it from more of a larger whole tenant building point of view, there's one side of me where it's like, I don't want anyone touching anything, but then is it better that we have a service in-house as opposed to everybody having to go out and get their food and go to other places and then coming back in. So that's just, we haven't made a decision on that yet. And everyone, I mean, I think you guys all know Dane's the founder of this place and he's like obsessed with coffee. So.
All right, this is my first time moderating via Zoom, so bear with me here, but I should let you know, you can type your questions in chat, or if you click on participants and then the raise hand button, I'll try to see that and call on you. Otherwise, chat seems to be working too fine. So Stephanie, you mentioned sort of a support group that you're in. So what are you hearing from people across the country on what they're doing?
It's challenging. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is. It's super challenging. You have to be really adaptable. And I think, you know, when it first came around, there's kind of almost a level of shock that comes with it, you know, and you kind of try to persevere and go through, you know, keep going through. And May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I've done Wellness Wednesdays. And, you know, just for myself, when the governor said that he was lifting the office thing early before the date, I had anxiety that I had never experienced before because I had a vision of everybody ascending onto the building all at once. And we're good with supplies here, but sanitizer is sold out. You know, we have all of the touchless hand sanitizer things for outside the elevators all ordered. We have the plastic stuff, but we can't get a guaranteed delivery date for when that's going to happen, you know? And I'm an honest person. I think you guys know that now. So I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. That's a real concern of ours where it's like, so then we had to go around to drummers and get the plastic things and make do with what we have. You know, I reached out to some of our members and just asking them what their COVID-19 business plan was. And a real response was, I haven't given it much thought. You know, it's like, well, okay, we kind of need to. Yeah. So, you know, there's just a big sense of responsibility for having to think kind of for everyone. Even in our lobby, we took out furniture so people can't sit next to each other, kind of making the social distancing and the sanitizing a very easy, no-brainer option, you know?
Okay. Well, it looks like Ryan has a question for you. So, Ryan.
Yes, so I actually had a similar question, I think, for both Stephanie and Kim. So Stephanie, just curious, being familiar and looking at normal operations here rather than these COVID-19 special operations, having experience with how shared spaces are being used out in California versus coming here, you know, can you talk about some of the differences in the usage and how it's being used out in California? And then when you talk about the education you've been doing since you've been here, how have you seen the usage change since you've been in Mankato? And then Kim, sort of a similar question. I've seen maker spaces, you know, as a nationwide movement. And when I was out in Philadelphia, it was almost impossible to get in one because they were so busy. So just talking about, you know, what does the Mankato, you know, interaction with the space look like relative to, you know, how it's done on a national scale?
Sure. I mean, in California, you don't need to explain it. They're everywhere. And most people get what the point of them is, what they're used for, what, you know, that was never really part of a sales pitch. We're here, it's like when I would send an email, it's like, hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm the director of Mogwai Collaborative, an innovative co-working space located in Mankato, Minnesota. I'm pretty sure everyone reads that first sentence is like, what is this girl talking about? Like, what is a co-working space? What does this mean? You know? So there was just a lot of questions where, like I said, well, what's the point? What's the value in it? Why can't I just work from home? Why can't I work from a coffee shop? And then it's like I would bring people in for a tour and I would see the click in them where they were like, oh, you know. So then people kind of started slowly getting it a little bit, and we always got, wow, this is such a cool space. You know, I didn't even know Mankato had that, which then that tells me about our marketing. And definitely the millennial generation obviously really gravitated towards it, and they understood it, they loved it, they didn't have any questions about it. And, you know, I think some people are still trying to wrap their head around it, but obviously in light of COVID-19, I think now everybody can identify, like I said, with why people go crazy working at home, you know?
Kim, did you want to tackle the question too?
I guess I would have a hard time comparing what happens in California. I really don't have any personal knowledge of that, but as far as maker spaces in general goes, they take all sorts of forms. It's been kind of an evolution. Some spaces focus on high technology, others focus more on more of the traditional arts, and I think they're shaped more or less. They're initially shaped by the organizers and the founders, but then they evolve on themselves. The members bring their own resources in. For instance, we have one member that brought in leatherworking and shoemaking of all things, and that's not something that we would have anticipated, but we started to acquire some equipment. We're building a whole program out around that. As far as the educational function goes, that's going to be a real challenge right now because we were having a great deal of success with our classes. We were having regular classes, a lot of different topics, and a lot of interest in that regard. But right now, that's one of the things that we're going to struggle with. We can't bring a lot of people in to a particular area because of social distancing. So we might be transitioning to some online classes, but that's really a hard deal when you're talking about hands-on activities. But I think that I want to just reiterate that all of these maker spaces are different. Initially, a lot of them didn't succeed because I don't think a lot of people understood what they were, but more and more people are getting it. And if you can just get up some momentum, people come by and they have those aha moments and they understand what it's all about and bring their own resources to the space and their own energy. And we're experiencing what I would say is a good deal of success. And we're not to the point right now where we're turning anyone away, but it might be a good problem to have. And we might be doing some of that with the social distancing and with this new environment.
Mm-hmm. And if I can quick ask one follow-up based on that, are most of the people using the space for personal projects and learning, or are they using it for business type endeavors?
We do have some people that are using it for modest business endeavors, but most people are doing it for personal exercises and personal education and personal projects.
All right, Gary, did you still have a question?
Yes, and I had two questions. One more for Stephanie. Stephanie, I know you were part of an initiative to link together through a passport multiple shared working spaces, which now that makes even more complicated. What's the status of that? And then for Kim, then let's see, what was my question? First answer that, Stephanie. I'll come back to Kim.
Okay. Thanks for asking that. I had meant to address that. So good question, Gary. Yeah, it was super disappointing. You know, I mean, I felt like we really started off the year strong. I had the most co-working members that I had ever had. And then we were working with Governor Walz for the Launch Minnesota, where he really wanted to bring awareness to the state of Minnesota as an innovative place to come and do business. And I was really involved in trying to get that all off the ground. And I reached out to 5 other local co-working directors that are all kind of along the same playing fields as we are, like in Rochester, Red Wing, Austin, Winona, and Pine Island. And so we got it all together and we figured it all out, and then COVID-19 hit, so we can't do any of it, you know? So that's obviously it is a disappointment. You get really excited about doing these things and you really felt like the collaboration was taking off, and I was seeing our numbers increase, which goes back to the question of, you know, how is the community receiving it? And then it just kind of halted, you know, and that goes back into the whole thing of emotions that I was feeling, that I think everybody is feeling. We're, you know, and the one thing I guess I can say is that we're all in this together. You know, we're all having to adapt our business plans. Look at how we're doing 1 million cups right now. Like, I sponsored the coffee that's not here.
Yeah.
you know, like it's just, but I do firmly believe that in a weird way, everything does happen for a reason, and that there will be something that will come out of this. And maybe it is just for me having a fully occupied space with a dedicated desk, because that really seemed to be what the community was wanting. You know, they weren't really wanting to share their, I mean, some of them did, the millennials did, they were fine with it, but other people, they wanted to just, this is my desk, you know? So maybe that will be the silver lining of it all, you know?
Well, you know, maybe in hearing you talk, and part of what's evolved for 1 Million Cups, at least in my mind, is everybody's have now working from home essentially, is still that connectivity. So maybe your passport, have you looked at Zoom and getting people familiar and comfortable with technology, of maybe they get connected through Zoom, and you've done a good job of trying to do some educational things. Have you looked to try to do some educational things that are primarily geared for your audience from your 5 sites there, and do a Zoom connection to try to at least build them there, and hopefully down the road that makes it even easier to make the transition back to face-to-face connection. Have you thought any about that?
Yeah, I emailed everyone on the email, you know, just kind of touching base, seeing where everybody was at, how they're doing, you know, and I jokingly said, like, shoot, I guess we didn't plan for a worldwide pandemic in our business plan, you know, darn it.
Yeah.
And not, you know, I think everyone's still honestly just trying to figure out what they're gonna do. Most of them just said, thanks so much for reaching out. You know, we're still closed at this time, or, I mean, they are struggling with members, you know, and I don't want to paint a picture that's not the reality. It's, I mean, but it's not just me. There's so many. I'm just thankful that I'm still getting a paycheck and that my business can still partially be open, you know, like there's people that are in much worse situations than my own, you know.
My last question for Kim then was back. I know some time ago, Makerspace was looking at having a mobile unit and activate that. And I'm not up to speed if that ever happened or what the status of that is. And now, obviously, in particular with the pandemic.
Well, I don't know. We have not activated that part of it. That was part of the initial plan, was to start something like that, more or less in promotion of the Makerspace idea, since a lot of people didn't really know what it was. It was a way to reach out into the community and expose that idea to everyone. The idea never quite came to fruition, and we got wrapped up in actually building the space, and then we suffered from our own success there a little bit, and things got rolling quite well. We didn't feel the real burning necessity to do that. Now with the new world that we live in, maybe that's an idea that needs to be revisited, because then we could have like open air sessions and open air lessons and classes like that. So that may be an idea worth revisiting.
Okay, so I know that we're running out of time, but we have a couple of questions left here. So Jim, you have a question.
Well, it's more of just a observation. You know, that maybe this is our new norm that we're going to go forward from. So I guess it has to be figured out. How is that going to look? And, you know, with Kim Spears, what you're doing there is great. But it's such a hands-on stuff that you're doing there. But, you know, for years, we've always had on like public TV, you know, the woodworking programs, you know, and that kind of stuff. Maybe that's kind of where that makerspace is going, where you have an expert that comes in and actually teaches, and then they're paying a fee back to you to get that knowledge. And then maybe from there on, maybe they can kind of tandem with that instructor, you know, to go on a little bit farther. But you mentioned something about shoemaker, and that really caught my ear, because down here on Belgrade Avenue, by PJ's Liquor in what used to be the old gas station, we had Joe, and he was a shoe repair. And when he left, it was like a big void on Belgrade Avenue for the city and for the region, because I don't know if there's any other in this area. Shoes now today they start falling apart, you throw them away. And people just don't repair them anymore. And that I really miss from our area down here. So that was about my only comment. Thank you, Lisa.
All right, Kim, do you want to tell everyone where Makerspace is located and maybe your website address?
Let's see, you could just probably Google it. I don't recall the web address right off the bat, but we're on 3rd Avenue, right by the railroad tracks. Basically, we're south of 14 on 3rd Avenue. And let's see, who is that?
Oh, it's, yeah, MankatoMakerspace.org is the website, it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be the best way to find us.
Okay, great. Okay, here's a question from Mike Hahn for the both of you. So did you take advantage, or any of your tenants take advantage of any of the COVID-19 emergency funds from the SBA, DEED, or the local communities?
We did not take advantage of any of that. We really don't know. Again, it's kind of hard. A makerspace is really undefined out there as what it is. And so we didn't know where we slotted in with some of those funds.
I had sent the information out to all of our members, and I know, does the PPP fall under this?
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. So my employers applied for the PPP for me.
Okay, Bobby has a question.
Yes, Stephanie, I would like to visit that safety device that you have. That is a little piece of genius work. What's the cost factor on it, and how many do you have, and the availability, and can I come to St. Paul?
These are all really great questions that I should have been prepared to have the answers to, but I can find out for you all. So it was made by John from Cubic 3D Printing, who is one of my Mogwai members. And then, like I said, our property manager, Adam, after our meeting, just went and had we were going over everything that we need to do for the building. So John can print them up, and we just gave them for free to all of our anchor tenants in the building, but I could most certainly get prices for you guys.
Right, and availability, like how many can we get, like can I get a package of like 100 of them to drop off somewhere to, there are people that are still actively involved, railroading and transportation divisions that would love some safety issues like this available.
Yeah. I mean, John will just, I think, what has he got? 4 printers down there now. He calls them his employees. So he could, depending, I don't know how many, or he runs his own business, so I have no idea how many orders he has already in place, but obviously he could print them all up, and he had no problem.
Could you show us how it works a little bit? What's the deal with it?
I feel like I should have Adam here, and he just walked past because this was his invention. You just hold it, and then if you're gonna press a button, you press the button, and then you can turn it and use it to open a door.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Can you see it? Does that make sense?
Right.
You would latch it and then open it,
Right. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we do have a few more minutes. If you have any last questions, go ahead and get those in. Or if any of you that are working from home have any best practices you want to share with the group of things that you found or challenges you've overcome with working at home, we could talk about those now as well, if we have any. Otherwise, thanks to Stephanie and Kim for your time this morning. It was very enlightening. I learned a lot, and good luck to both of you as you're trying to figure this out. Goodness.
Hey, Lisa, just a question for both Stephanie and also Kim. I know you guys addressed a little bit of this in your presentation, but maybe speculate through your board of directors or through the ownership groups that you're working with. Where do we see this heading as far as the COVID-19 situation? What are your associations telling you? And, where do you see this heading, especially short term over the next 3 to 6 months? Thank you.
I mean, for me, I don't really see it going away anytime soon. You know, I think that these social distancing practices, I mean, there's not a cure for it yet. There's not an antibody, you know, we can't see it all. So I feel like until there's a way to fight it, this is just going to have to be our reality, you know, and it's the way that we're just going to have to work, because if we don't have a safe workspace or safe options for people, either they're not going to come in, or if they do come in, they're going to get sick, and it's going to just defeat the purpose anyways, you know? So that's kind of where I see things. And, you know, I think that there's still real opportunity for us to, one of my biggest things is that I wanted to collaborate with corporations and start getting their employees in here. And that led into all of the out of the box thinking, you know, when you're in a new space, when you have floor to ceiling murals, voice activated lights, a fun, playful environment, your mind goes to a different place than if you're just, you know, no offense to anyone else's offices, but if you're just in a stale office environment, seeing the same people over and over, you kind of get into a routine that maybe doesn't have as much life and excitement to it. You know, we're still able to do that. It can't be a free for all like it was, you know, it needs to be organized. This is your spot. This is your lease. Okay, you're done. Great. Hopefully I have a waiting list of people that want to come in, you know, because eventually we all will have to return to work. And fun.com has always been one of my target people that I want to get into the space. I still want to do that. You know, how are they going to go back to their offices? I know a lot of them are all working from home now, you know, and like I said, my private office, it's a $400 fully furnished office pod. You just got to show up to it, and it's a month-to-month lease. And once they're ready to go back to their corporate situation, I'll wish them the best. You know, it's a flat rate, no hidden fees. You know, once you're ready to go, you can go. So that's kind of what I'm hoping that is still there. But do I think that like that everything's going to go back to normal? No, I don't. You know, I wish I could say yes, but I don't.
At the bigger space, we're kind of looking to the fact that there will be some degree of normalcy going forward, due to the fact that if we can't get people in there and they can't be working with their hands on the equipment, sometimes closely with one another, you know, sometimes you need to work with people, then we don't have a viable model. So we have to assume that we're going to have some degree of normalcy going forward, naturally with some precautions probably, but that's the direction that we're headed.
And Stephanie, there's a question about the Hub Food Park. Is that operating? I know it was open yesterday.
It was. Mm-hmm. Everyone did a good job. Thank you. I'd be lying if I wasn't, you know, going to admit that I was a little bit, I just didn't know. I mean, everyone has seen the opening day in the past, and I was like, we can't have that. I cannot have that. I don't want to be in charge of it. I don't want to deal with it. So I sent an email out to all of our food trucks, and Greg from TNT Eats, I actually did have a taco truck and they canceled on me the day before. I'm like, it was Cinco de Mayo and on Tuesday, but whatever. But it went really great. So it's to go only. And that's not our rules. It's a state ordinance by the state of Minnesota and a city ordinance. So it's to go only. Our park area is closed. Our seating area is closed. And, you know, just to let you guys know, I had to do a lot of research on how long the virus can live on surfaces, and it can live on wood for up to 4 days and on metal for up to 5 days. So once again, you know, our health and our health and safety for our community is much more important to us than what our aesthetics look like. So we're all well aware that it kind of looks like a crime scene down there, and because it's all caution taped off. So we're trying to find, I commissioned an artist, Michael Cimino. We have 6-foot cones for social distancing, and he's going to paint them a fun art color. We're going to probably do some an art installation for just fun pieces of art for people to stand in. We're even trying to see if there's a way that we can paint the caution tape just to have it be a little more fun. I made a whole social distancing playlist that just to kind of keep it a little lighthearted, you know. But like I said, everything is to go, and it sounds like I'm excited based on yesterday. I called all the food trucks. I think all of them were kind of holding their breath to see how it was going to go or what was going to happen. I actually literally have Norris's Food Cuisine texting me right now, so that's good. She's a Venezuelan truck. So yeah, it sounds like they're gonna come out. I just think it's gonna take some time, and there's a real issue for some of our food trucks of they're concerned about their food source, you know, and where they're gonna get the beef, and they don't want to sign up for something that they can't necessarily guarantee at this point. But we're gonna do our best. All events have to be canceled until the fall. You know, the farmers market is still coming, so that's great. I'm really excited about that. And I would love to be able to guarantee a schedule for everyone, but you know, no one can really give me a straight answer, which I totally understand. You know, everyone's trying to figure it out. But I talked to Lola's yesterday. They're getting their license with the city. They're going to work on some dates. Evans Eateries wanting to come back. El Jefe from the Twin Cities wants to come down. Norris, like I said, is texting me right now. So I think I think people just kind of needed, I'm very thankful that Greg from TNT Eats kind of took the first initiative. And yeah, everyone was great, you know, everyone was very gracious, and there were no problems, no issues. They stood by the cones, and it was good. So I really appreciated that, you know.
Good. Will you have regular days and hours for that, or?
Like I said, I would like to, but we don't, you know. And what I'm doing, they pay for the day. It's like, it's up to them. I was like, you're more than welcome to be there until the park opens or closes or whatever you want to do. You know, we're just being really flexible with everyone, and it's more up to them, you know.
Yep. Well, before we go, we've heard their challenges and concerns from Stephanie and Kim. Do any of you have any suggestions for them or any ideas to help them get through these next few months?
Well, I do. Kim, you know, I love learning new things and learning how to do things with my hands. Painting and sculpture and all that kind of stuff would be great. I'd like to learn, you know, more about woodworking. I really think that you should explore the online class possibility, maybe one-on-one tutorials, you know, where, you know, somebody works with one person or maybe with two people, and they go down to the space and show things, let the person, you know, watch, and then when they can, you know, have them come in and have the other person be on video, you know, who is teaching them, kind of guiding them and answering questions, you know, or maybe off to the side or something. I think, you know, there's just lots of opportunity for people wanting to learn new things. I'm constantly getting notes from people saying, hey, I did this certification. Hey, I learned this new thing. I think that's an opportunity for you to, you know, get more people involved in what it is you're doing, you know, sewing and pottery and all that kind of stuff with, you know, with somebody local that then they could follow up with and get to know them and maybe come down later and, you know, work with them in person.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'll sign up. You get your
online
classes, I promise.
Or what about even teaching people how to make like the raised garden boxes?
Right. Stuff.
You know, like I don't know anything about that. I don't know what's growing in my backyard, if it's a weed or if I can eat it, you know? I don't.
Personally, I built a little greenhouse, $100 greenhouse, and that's working out real well. I saw an idea the other day for a strawberry tower, which would be a great woodworking project. You know, you can do it in a 4-foot square, raise strawberries. So those are all good ideas. I had a picnic table class, but that's large. It'd be kind of hard to do that at home, I think.
Yeah. Or even making like a raised bed garden, you know, so that you don't have to bend over, you know, to raise some herbs or tomatoes or something close to your house. Anyway, that was my input. I'll mute myself again.
You know, just piggybacking on Yvonne, I think, again, the more Zoom meetings I do and seeing everybody's faces here, and I think we've probably seen the Zoom TV programs that have been done. I think there's an opportunity just with Stephanie, but even maybe more so with Kim and having some of your artisans being highlighted and, you know, do a 20-minute program about woodworking, just to kind of whet their appetite and also to showcase your facility of what's available there. People are looking for things to entertain themselves at home and connect with other people, see the face. Oh yeah, there's that Kim Spears. There's that metalworking guy, and it's very easy to do from home. And so I think that's an opportunity, and you can kind of then, it's marketing where then whatever level of normalcy comes back, you got a rolling start.
Sounds good.
And that also gave me an idea too. You know, people, because it's Mental Health Awareness Month, I don't know if you guys have all the artistic things that you can do that's good for anxiety and for depression, like painting, building things, using your hands, getting outside, being in the garden. You can also take that marketing angle to it as well, you know, as an idea.
I wanted to step in with a suggestion, just going back and hearing sort of the style of emails that might have been sent out to share information about Mogwai. So I worked as a sales manager for 4 years, and as a lot of the research that I did in that role, the standard sales email starts with, "Hi, I'm person X with company Y, and here's why we're cool," right? And people's brains are pre-wired to find that, say this is a sales email, and then ignore it.
Yeah.
So a lot of the research we've gotten, one of the most effective ways to start an email is, "Hi, I'm reaching out to you because I saw on your website that you treat your employees well," right? You know, and point out some specific thing they've said. And then the best way to get somebody interested is to look at 3 problems your company solves. And in the body of the email say, you know, companies work with me, and you'd probably have 2 different email formats for a large company versus an entrepreneur, but companies work with me when they want another perk or benefit to offer to their employees, when they want their employees to, you know, have higher productivity by being able to get out of the office 1 day per week. And some companies work with me because, you know, and just, I don't want to try to put these problems that you solve into your mouth, but think of what those are and say, this is why people work with me. And if they can latch on to any one of those, then, you know, they'd be more interested to reach back out.
Yeah, that's great. I wrote them down. Thank you.
Well, good. Anyone else before we close the discussion today?
Yeah, I want to build on the virtual class idea. So on a website called Twitch, every weekend, a PBS channel airs old videos of Bob Ross paintings for 72 hours straight. And so my 2-year-old daughter really likes watching him paint, and I also like his kind of dry humor. So it's a great piece of entertainment for both of us, and she gets excited about painting and drawing. And so for a 2-year-old, that's great. But the same thing could be done for creating strawberry bed towers, or any woodworking projects or leatherworking projects. It could be streamed on a platform like Twitch or YouTube or Facebook, and you can be generating revenue in terms of subscriptions or ad revenue or things like that are alternative sources of revenue for your space. And it doesn't necessarily need to limit it to the Mankato market. Then it could be anybody that's interested in these projects.
Tyler, do you have expertise in this area? How to do that? How to monetize those? I'm not really familiar how to do that.
Yeah, let's chat after this. It's different for each platform.
Okay.
If I could make one announcement before we go, this is kind of just a cool factor of the Hubbard building and an example of the past collaboration. So I think most of you guys know that we do have solar panels on our building, and an example of collaboration that came out of the space was our live plant walls that we have in there. So the live plant wall that is in the basement right outside Mogwai is over our whole air filtration system for the whole entire building. And over that air filtration system is UV lights, and UV lights kill viruses. So it's kind of a fun little bonus perk that we have going on, where all the air that is being filtered through is going underneath those UV lights that were only originally intended to keep the plants alive, but now it's also hopefully keeping us alive too. So.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. Yvonne, you want to close us out here?
Actually, I'll hand it back to Tabitha. I'll get the PowerPoint back up for her. Here we go.
Awesome. Do we have to kind of keep this a little bit shorter this time, but do we have any community news? I love what Stephanie just added. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to share that's happening in the community?
I have one on Friday morning. We have social media breakfast at 8 o'clock. It'll be on Zoom. We have a great presenter. If you go to the Facebook page for social media breakfast, it's SMB Mankato. You'll find all the info in the Zoom link.
Gary, anything? Oh, Stephanie?
I could just announce that the farmers market is coming back down to the hub. It will be the first Thursday in June, and then it will be every Thursday from 3:30 to 6. They start strictly at 3:30. You cannot buy a tomato at 3:29, so don't try, okay? And they will have all of their social, they're already open up at Best Buy, and they have all their policies. So I think now more than ever, it's so important to come out and support our local businesses and our farmers. So I hope I can see you all there. And, thank you so much for this opportunity. And if you guys know anyone that needs a private, reliable office with fiber internets and UV lights over the air filtration system, tell them to come and find me.
Yes, I'd like to also thank everyone for giving me this opportunity to talk about the makerspace. It's a passion of mine, and I love the opportunity to talk about it.
This is John Considine. Apologize for joining late here. I was having some significant internet troubles, but just wanted to highlight GreaterMankatoBlog.com as a resource for businesses. We just did a post about personal protective equipment, and as businesses are working on their preparedness plans, the PPE can be an aspect of hygiene in their preparedness plans, and we have different sources on there and some do's and don'ts for procurement of PPE in case anybody's interested. Be sure to share it and get working on those preparedness plans.
And Tabitha, this is Mike Hahn from the SBDC. Just next Monday at 3 p.m., we're going to have Ask the Attorneys. So I know that there's going to be some legal questions that are coming out of this pandemic from a business perspective. So we will be online at 3 p.m. and you can find it through our website at myminnesotabusiness.com.
Awesome. So now the next thing we have is our dice roll. And so Yvonne, do you have your lovely little system that you use to see who is the winner?
I do.
All right.
Need to just pull up the link here. I looked at how many people are here, and I went through and actually numbered you all already. So I think I've got it all set. Let's see, one sec. I'm just gonna screen share so you can see the dice roll. Not quite as slick as I have been in the past. There we go. Okay, there are 34 of us in here, so I'm gonna do 33 because I don't need a mug. And number 8, and number 8 is Connor McCauley, just won one of our 1 Million Cups mugs. Congratulations, Connor. Yay. I'll send you a note because I've got your email and tell you how to get the mug, okay?
Awesome. And so my goodness, we had such great conversation today. This was absolutely incredible. We were going to spend some time on, seeing if anyone had any ideas of businesses that, they could maybe touch base with to have them present. We've had a lot of success, I feel. This is probably our biggest turnout that we've had so far, which is awesome. And so if you know of anyone that is in business for less than 5 years, who can we reach out to? Does anybody have any ideas? Ooh, cubic 3D printing, yes.
Oh, yeah.
He would be good, but I'm sharing that for everyone that had questions about this thing. And if you guys wanted to order them for your own business, that's his website. And John's awesome. So
he's 5 years and less, correct? 2 years? Okay.
And he has presented twice already.
Oh, he has. Oh,
so we have heard from John.
Yeah, I was sharing that for.
Gotcha. Anybody else?
I just
because I
want to
know
know,
we're right at 9:30.
I also just wanted to add in, I'm not sure if Michael Loof is still online for New Ulm, that put a pitch in that June 10th will be on the road virtually in New Ulm, and we'll have a New Ulm presenter at that time. So we're looking forward to that.
All right, and so we will be back next week. Live Your Truth seminars. This is going to be so exciting. Oh my goodness, I'm in my basement and I can't function yet. I need to be back in my office. So anyway, I want to thank everyone for coming. Thank you for some great conversation. Make sure that you look up their pages, Mogwai's Makerspace. Make sure you like those pages if they have them on Facebook, and shoot them any suggestions that you have. And please, any of the organizers, if you or shoot messages to any of the organizers if you have ideas of businesses that you think would be a great benefit to help come and share their business with us. So thank you so much. We are going to sign off until next week.